Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
He should have never slapped Chris. I'm not watching the movie. It's not happening.
You don't understand. Do you understand why he slapped Chris? Did you see in that moment from probably what he was dealing with?
What was he dealing with? What the f was he dealing with?
It looks like everyone in Hollywood has something to say about Will Smith and Oscar's slap almost 1 year later. Following the very eventful 94th Academy Awards, celebrities weighed in on the altercation between Will Smith and Chris Rock in interviews and on social media. A few stood by the King Richard actor, while some condemned his act of violence and others defended Rock. So, who are some of the A-listers who have openly humiliated Smith on live air? You will be shocked by close to half of them. Stick around to find out who we are talking about. The first celebrity who came out to publicly denounce Will Smith's erratic behavior is none other than your favorite talk show host, Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, I would have went right out there. There would have been I wouldn't even have waited for somebody to say something.
Do you think? Do you think he would have?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have went right out on stage because somebody needed to go out there at that time.
Kimmel said he has no doubt about how he would have handled Will Smith slapping Chris Rock had he been hosting the Oscars in March last year. Kimmel has previously joked about running away had he been on stage at the time of Smith's attack, but during a recent broadcast of Howard Stern's SiriusXM radio show, the late-night comedian struck a more serious tone, seemingly condemning the disgraced screen star. "Oh, I would have went right out there. I wouldn't have even waited for somebody to say something." He said, "I would have went right out on stage because somebody needed to go out there at that time. And I think that was one of the drawbacks to having 3 hosts is it wasn't clear who should go out there."
I think I probably would have started talking to Will Smith. I think that would, who was sitting there, I think I would have opened like, what are you doing? Like, and I think that
Kimmel would have started talking to Will Smith and firstly asked him, "What are you doing?" He claimed. When hosting the ceremony in 2017, the certified funnyman recalled how he took it upon himself to go out on stage to address the erroneous announcement of La La Land as Best Picture over Moonlight. "Nobody knew what was supposed to happen. No one told me to go out on stage. I said, I guess I'd better go up because I'm the only one with a mic on." He told Stern that Kimmel is not the only Jim who felt Will Smith's conduct was childish and reckless. Legendary actor Jim Carrey has also publicly blasted his fellow actor following the now infamous Oscar incident.
Who was sitting there, I think I would have opened like, what are you doing? Like, what you...
Not impressed. Like everyone who watched the 2022 Oscars, Jim Carrey saw Will Smith slap Chris Rock during the ceremony, and he wasn't happy about what happened afterward. "I was sickened," the Liar Liar actor, 60, said during a Tuesday, March 29, 2022, appearance on CBS Mornings. "I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless en masse. It really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore." After the 53-year-old rapper's altercation with the 57-year-old Saturday Night Live alum, Smith went on to accept the Best Actor Oscar for his performance in King Richard. As Carrey mentioned, the audience inside the Dolby Theater all stood to applaud the Philadelphia native following his win. Smith was previously nominated for Best Actor in 2002 and 2007 but lost both times. Rock ultimately didn't press charges against Smith following the incident, but Carrey told Gayle King that the Ollie star should have been arrested. He doesn't want the hassle, the Truman Show star said, theorizing as to why the grown-ups actor didn't go to the LAPD. "I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time." This is what he said.
Because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time.
The Canadian native went on to say that it's okay to yell from the audience if you don't approve of a joke, but you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words. King, 67, argued that the incident escalated to that level, but Carrey disagreed. "It didn't escalate." He said that it came out of nowhere because Will has something going on inside him that's frustrating. "I wish him the best. I really do. I don't have anything against Will Smith. He's done great things, but that was not a good moment. It cast a pall over everybody's shining moment." And well, you won't believe the next person who also blasted Smith for his uncouth conduct during last year's Oscars. In a nearly 2-minute video shared via Twitter, O.J. Simpson became the latest celebrity to share some thoughts on the incident.
"I think Will was wrong. Look, I understood the feeling. Now, in my life, I've been through a lot of crap, and I was raising 2 young kids, and every comedian in the country had an OJ routine, and don't think
Now, I thought the question I would be getting all day would be the question about the overtime rule of the NFL. He said, well, you know, I don't totally agree with it. But the question I've been getting is Will Smith and Chris Rock. Simpson, who went on trial for the murders of his former wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman in 1994 and 95, said that he doesn't condone Smith's behavior, but he understands it. It was unfortunate. I think Lou was wrong. Look, I understood the feeling, he said. In my life, I've been through a lot of crap when I was raising 2 young kids, and every comedian in the country had an OJ routine. And don't think I wouldn't want to slap a couple of those guys, but you gotta accept it's humor. He conceded that Chris Rock's joke, which was made at the expense of Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, was semi-unfunny. He continued, I know this, after what happened to me in Las Vegas, if I would have done that in front of 1 billion people around the world, they would have given me life without. I'm just saying. The caption alongside the video read, he was wrong, but I understand the sentiment. If you think we are done yet, well, buckle up because Joe Rogan also had something to say, a few words that will leave Will Smith fans feeling embarrassed.
Chris Rock said one of the most mild jokes ever.
It was pretty mild.
Jada Pinkett is bald. Apparently, I didn't know this. I found out after the fact that she didn't shave her head.
Podcast host Joe Rogan called out the Oscar-winning actor for slapping comedian Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards, describing Smith's outburst as a foolish impulse. Rogan spoke out on the viral debacle during one of his episodes with mixed martial artist Josh Barnett, where he notably called the ordeal a foolish impulse on Smith's part.
I don't think he was thinking that far ahead at all.
Maybe he wasn't, but
I
maybe
think
he's
he was
like
being
in this
emotionally
moment,
fragile.
Probably.
And he acted on impulse.
Sure.
And I think it's a foolish impulse that you do when you know there's no consequences.
I
so
don't
you're hitting
think, but
a
here's
very
the thing.
small
I'm going to say that
person.
I don't think he was thinking that far ahead at all, Rogan said in response to Barnett. I think he was being emotionally fragile. He acted on impulse. I think it's a foolish impulse that you do when you know there's no consequences. Chris Rock's doing his fucking job. He continued, you don't go and sit in the front row. You're a star at the Oscars. There's a professional comedian whose job is to roast people. That's what he's doing. And what he did was not even insulting. It was a mild joke.
Well, how do you have malicious intent in a mild joke?
Tell me about it.
No,
I'm saying I don't agree that he did.
I'm telling you, dude, this is all rational thinking about an irrational act.
It's an irrational act, but
he was emotionally fragile and he acted on impulse in a staggeringly
Rogan was also under the impression that Smith won't face legal consequences for slapping Rock on live television. The LAPD had confirmed that Rock was not pressing charges against Smith, but was willing to work with him should he choose to do so in the future. I'm telling you, this is all rational thinking about an irrational act, Rogan argued. He was emotionally fragile and he acted on impulse in a staggeringly stupid way. And even politicians are unapologetically going harm on Smith. Britain's Labour Party deputy leader Angela Rayner said it would be completely unacceptable if she went over the dispatch box and lambasted Boris Johnson as she criticized Smith. Rayner said the Oscar winner had set a bad example for young people. She told Sky News that violence is never the answer and added, I get passionate and upset, we all do. But, you know, if I went over the dispatch box and lamped Boris Johnson because I didn't like what he said, because he offended me, then that would be completely unacceptable, and I think it was unacceptable that Will did that, so I think it was right that he apologized. She added, you lose the debate if you resort yourself to violence. Earlier, England's Education Minister Will Quince said children were taught at school that violence is never, ever the answer. He said, it's so disappointing because I'm a huge fan of Will Smith and I think violence is never, ever the answer. And back in the comedy world, legendary rip cracker Dave Chappelle also shared his views on Will Smith, and I'm afraid they weren't so welcoming.
I've ever seen. This nigga Will Smith's a wild dude for that one. That's a fucking thing to do. Slap the shit out of Chris. Called the slap her around the world. You're goddamn right. The war stopped in Ukraine for 6 minutes when that happened. Our ancestors was in Georgia 100 years ago picking cotton. I heard that shit.
Reminding his European audience that 53-year-old Will Smith was from a rough part of Philadelphia, USA. Chappelle said that just moments before he was about to win the Best Actor award for his role in the film King Richard, he acted like he was back in Philadelphia. Chappelle, who is known for his satirical comedy sketches, added, Will did the impression of a perfect person for 30 years, and he ripped his mask off and showed us he was as ugly as the rest of us. Whatever the consequences are, I hope he doesn't put his mask back on again and lets his real face breathe. So, there you have it. It seems Smith has created a whole lot of enemies in the entertainment world. Whether or not he will restore his reputation remains to be seen. And that's it from us today. Until next time, bye.